Donald Trump is sticking to his guns and he is committing to this trade war. He's followed through on threats to impose tariffs on China, Canada and Mexico, and they are now in effect. Joining me now is lawyer and Democrat lobbyist Nathan Daschle. Nathan, thanks so much for your time. I mean, he said he would do this. He said he would follow through. I think many thought that perhaps he would get some kind of deal or compromise and pull out at the last minute, but he hasn't. And we're now seeing the effects of a trade war.
Yeah, absolutely right. We are seeing the effects of a trade war. There's always the potential that Trump will extract some concession and back down from these tariffs. But as of now, we are on a full-throated trade war with our greatest trading ally. And I've yet to meet an economist who thinks this makes sense for the average American. The average American's consumer prices, grocery prices. I mean, the tariffs, I think, are bad news for everyone. But this is the situation that we're in.
Australia is also seeking an exemption at the moment. You know, we often compare Trump to his first administration, but this time, you know, in these couple of months, he's already proven that he is quite different, perhaps more bolshy, more confident, if you can believe that. But it doesn't look like, from the comments of Peter Navarro, that Australia is going to get those exemptions. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't bank on it. I would not bank on it.
Very diplomatic of you, Nathan.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say. But if Trump can start a trade war with Canada, who is literally our greatest trading partner, our northern neighbor, he could start a trade war with anyone. And I think there is this philosophy that he has that tariffs are going to somehow bring capital back into the United States. But like I said, I don't know of a single economist who agrees with that proposition. And I think it's ironic because Donald Trump was elected president in large part because of inflation. And these tariffs are only going to lead to greater inflation.
Yeah, that's 100% right, but it's how long this trade war does go on for and whether there is capitulation, because when he imposed these tariffs, particularly in Mexico, it was about the fentanyl crisis, which I would argue he also, you know, I agree, not so much on the fentanyl crisis and immigration. It was a massive cost of living groundswell in the United States, and people just didn't feel like their lives were better off in the last 4 years. But, you know, is there any evidence, is there any talk, any coverage of this trade war even affecting the fentanyl crisis? Has Mexico said anything about them wanting to limit the flow even further or trying to?
Well, I'm sure. And the irony is that there's a negligible amount of fentanyl that comes into the United States from Canada. And we have slapped the same tariffs on Canada that we have on Mexico. But no, there's no evidence that this is going to lead to less fentanyl coming across the border. I mean, it might, and if it does, that's certainly a positive development. But the question is going to be at what cost, and are there better, smarter ways to do things? I mean, one of the biggest criticisms of the Trump administration so far is that while he has good intentions, a lot of these things need to be done with a scalpel and not a chainsaw. But he takes a chainsaw to everything, and that doesn't always lead to a net positive.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that chainsaw come out metaphorically in the Oval Office as well.
Really?
And on Saturday Night Live, the skit, that worked as well. But I guess the broader point here is Europe's not pulling its weight. Trump wants Europe to pull its weight, and he wanted Zelensky to be more grateful. What's going to happen now? Do you think, yes, the chainsaw came out, but might it work?
Well, so it's a good question. So Trump did get a lot of what he wanted. He wanted Europe to step up with the Ukrainian war. He wanted Europe to spend more on defense, and they have done that. But again, I say at what cost? Are there other ways we could have accomplished these same objectives, but without torching our relationships with our European allies? And in terms of the gratitude from Zelensky, frankly, I think we're better than that. I think we are better. I think there are bigger issues going on right now than whether or not Zelensky is sufficiently grateful for our help. From my opinion, I think that he is. But like I said, I think there are bigger issues at stake here. And it seems a little petty to tie up our support for Ukraine with Zelensky's purported gratitude.
Well, it was one of those Oval Office meetings I don't think either man will forget, and certainly not the millions of people
Never
that watch
forget
it will forget anytime soon. Nathan, always good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Great to see you.